Season 18 is now less than 2 months away. We're rapidly zeroing in on it, and we don't know too much about the season or what to expect from it, but we do absolutely know one thing, and that's that Arc 3.0 will be a part of that package. And at this point, we've seen some trends with these revamped subclasses, and we know enough to know that having a nice arsenal of good Arc weapons is a great way to prepare. Because with Solar 3.0, we saw perks where solar weapons could extend the timer of your restoration buff, keeping your healing rolling. We've seen solar weapons cause bigger booms and spread more scorch stacks. With Void 3.0, we saw volatile rounds on Void weapons being a thing. I think it's safe to assume that having a good set of Arc weapons ready to go would be a great way to prepare. And having said that, there's one Arc weapon that is totally a sleeper weapon that you can easily farm right now. I mentioned it in an earlier video. I've tweeted out pictures of my Postmaster completely filled to the brim with these. It's the Arc sidearm called the Keening. And before you immediately dismiss this thing, let me open your mind a little bit here. You are likely asking the question, if no one ever cared about the Keening before, why should I care about it now? And I would say you're asking the wrong question. The right question is, why did no one care about the Keening originally? And is there a reason to care about it now? Let's start there, and then after we answer those two questions, we'll dive into what I love about this weapon and what's so awesome about it right now. In the background, you're going to be seeing a wide variety of plays with about half a dozen different roles on Keenings. One of them is my new surplus multi-kill clip one. One is killing wind snapshot. One's high impact reserves and under pressure, which is a really cool combo, by the way. And another one is the threat detector snapshot combo. There are others, but only for a play or two. Those are the main ones. All right, let's tackle that first question. Why did no one care about this gun to begin with? And that's an easy one. Two reasons. First, you couldn't target farm it. You really couldn't guarantee that you were going to get these to drop in a very, very saturated loot pool at the time. And secondly, the Keening has one of the deepest perk pools in the game with a whopping 24 perks total in the two main columns. You might think that's a good thing, and it can be, but at the time it was awful because that meant that getting the exact perk combination that you wanted was next to impossible because you weren't getting many of these things to drop, and then you were just rolling the dice in a 24 perk pool, weapon. So you just had to sort of take what you got at the time. And when other sidearms like the brass attacks, which came out that season, were available and could be focused with umbrals, and no one was worried about the Keening. Now, for the second question, why should anyone care about the Keening now? The answer is simple. The two problems that we just addressed have been fixed. First, the Keening is very, very easy to farm. You just play Crucible. They'll drop randomly at the end of matches from time to time, but the thing is they drop very frequently from your rank up engrams at Lord Shaxx, as you can see here. I've now had upwards of 50 to 60 of these things this season that I've checked over, and I still have 50 engrams left at Shaxx. And if you're worried about the grind of ranking up your reputation with Shaxx and getting these engrams, that process has gotten a lot faster since the season when the Keening originally came out. Bungie tweaked that whole prestige process and how much XP you get. And then on top of that, this current week is actually double Valor, so you'll rank up twice as fast just playing PvP this week. All in all, you get a lot more Keening drops this season than when the gun originally came out. But what about that massive perk pool? Yeah, that's no longer a weakness. Instead, it's a massive, massive strength. This season, Bungie added a new feature to the vendors like Shaxx, Zavala, and the Drifter. When you reset your rank for the first time with them, you now have a chance to get extra perks on your weapons. You'll notice some of mine have 4 or even 5 perk options on them instead of just the standard 2. That means that my chances of getting the combinations that I want are much, much, much higher. I got every combination that I've wanted on a Keening this season. That's why I'm using so many different roles in the video, because I was testing them all out to see which ones I liked the best. You can now even get 2 or even 3 different desirable perk combinations on the same drop. You can essentially have 3 Keenings in one gun. It's awesome. And now that we've sorted all of that out, let's tackle the other important question. What is special about this gun? Well, the Keening, it's an adaptive frame sidearm. So like the Traveler's Chosen or the Drang or the 18 Kelvins, that archetype itself has always been very desirable since it has the fastest optimal TTK of any primary weapon type in the game at a flat 0.6 seconds. That does require 4 headshots, mind you, which is easier said than done in sidearm engagements when you're both typically, rolling, jumping, barricading, Icarus dashing, using cover oftentimes, or supplementing your gunplay with grenades and melee abilities since you're in such close quarters. But still, that TTK potential is there, and sometimes you just melt with these things faster than any other primary weapon type is capable of doing. Now, it does have that 12 zoom value, so it doesn't have that extra little bump of range that Drang has. Drang basically has rangefinder built in, right? And that's a fact, Drang can take duels at a very slightly longer range than the Keening can. But I always encourage folks, never let one stat value be the only factor in weighing a weapon. Most of your engagements, that extra little range, it won't matter, right? If you step into a fight with a Drang, just know what it is. It makes a very unique sound. Make sure you stay close. Don't backpedal a Drang. If you're using a sidearm and you backpedal a Drang, you're probably going to lose. Because inside its standard sidearm range, I think that the Keening has some great perks that make it better at those closer ranges than the Drang. Everyone is going for range on the Drang, and I've got literally close to 2,000 kills, Drang kills this season already, so I'm very familiar with that gun at this point. I love it, by the way. I love Drang. I think a lot of people think that I dislike Drang. I don't. I really freaking love that gun. In a previous video I mentioned, hey, just because it is so good, it doesn't mean that other sidearms aren't good at other things. I don't want people to just think that Drang is the only great sidearm. There are other ones too. But anyways, I crafted my Drangs to really excel in that extra range sweet spot. But it's a lot of work, I will admit, to stay in that sweet spot. If a good sidearm closes the gap on me, it's anyone's game. And then that zoom value, it isn't helping me anymore. In fact, in those closer, sort of like brawler engagements, I'd rather have the 12 zoom that's not as zoomed in, right? So that being said, let me tell you what the Keening can do in close quarters as a downright brawler weapon. The Keening has some incredible perks that make shredding people up close just buttery smooth. In that first column, you've got bangers, but my top 2 picks are Killing Wind and Surplus. Killing Wind is going to give you that 20 range, 50 mobility, 40 handling, and a buff to your damage fall off distance. It is an insanely good perk. If you're looking to chain kills in PvP, go with this one. Otherwise, Surplus is an S tier perk as well. You almost always have an ability cooldown, you often have 2, and you sometimes have all 3. That means for most of your engagements, you're likely running around with a Keening that has 25 reload speed buff, 15 stability, 25 handling. It's literally free stats and a whole lot of them. I recommend it. Other than that, you've also got Threat Detector in the first column, an awesome perk for sidearms, getting that extra stability and reload speed, as well as an animation scaler buff, so your gun does everything except shooting faster. You've also got Moving Target, a great choice for sidearms, Slideways and Slide Shot, which are both pretty decent as well. Don't go with Rapid Hit. I feel like people overvalue Rapid Hit on sidearms. It's great on pulses. It's good on some hand cannons. It's not great on sidearms. You're not beaming people with headshots as often as you think you are with sidearms. That's not really their strength. But hey, all those perks that we just talked about, that's just the first column. It's just the first column, baby. In the second column, you've got some clear winners here too. You've got multi-kill clip is fantastic. It doesn't have a cooldown like the standard kill clip, and it changes the ratio of headshots to body shots required for that optimal TTK. So you can hit that 0.6 second TTK without landing all headshots. That's huge. You've got Snapshot. Trust me when I say it's a fantastic perk for sidearms. Zen Moment is here, as always, a great perk for weapons that you're basically spamming. Those are the top 3 perks I'd look out for, but you can always get down with High Impact Reserves for, 3 to 6% more damage on your shots on the bottom half of the mag. There's Vorpal for taking on supers, which can be really fun. And there's Unrelenting which is surprisingly not a bad perk either for regenerating health mid-combat sometimes. So if I were to recommend an exact roll for you, this would be it. This is my winner. But not the only winner, mind you. I really liked several of my rolls, but this combo was my favorite. Corkscrew rifling, ricochet rounds, surplus, multi-kill clip, a range masterwork, and Icarus grip is going to yield one monster brawler of a sidearm. You're looking at 58 range, 76 stability, which is basically going to be anywhere between 81 and 100 capped out with surplus active. 55 handling, and again, surplus is going to give you anywhere between 10 and 50 extra handling, capping it off too. 25 reload speed, again, surplus, going to make this anywhere between actually going to be 35 to 75, which is nuts. And your airborne effectiveness will be 27. I'm telling you, this gun is fantastic. So fun up close and personal. And anything that's too deep for this thing, I use my other weapon on those engagements. People act like range is the only important thing. Meanwhile, I've got a whole other weapon slot to cover whatever ranges my other weapon doesn't, you know? That recoil direction on the keening, by the way, it's a base of 99. You basically don't need to do anything at all to correct it. And there you have it. That's the keening. I highly encourage you to take the time between now and the end of the season to farm a god roll of one of these. You will not regret it. When Arc 3.0 drops, I know I'll be trying these things out again, especially with my Mantle of Battle Harmony Warlock builds. I really can't wait. Alright, thanks for watching the video today. I know I haven't streamed a lot lately, but with the contractors at my house all the time building the addition right next to my office, it's a little loud, makes it difficult to stream, so I'm focusing on the VOD content right now instead. So thanks again, feel free to leave a like on the video only if you enjoyed it, subscribe for additional Destiny 2 content, be warm and well fed my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.